Think about the last time you were late for a meal. A very specific, uncomfortable feeling begins to crawl into your chest. You become easily agitated, you lose your patience, and your empathy starts to evaporate. Modern society calls this being hangry, treating it like a cute, relatable inconvenience. But there is absolutely nothing cute about what is happening inside your skull. You are not just experiencing a simple drop in blood sugar. You are experiencing the systematic shutdown of your humanity. For 99.9% of human history, missing a meal didn't mean you were just busy. It meant the biological countdown to your death had officially begun, and your brain is preparing you to do whatever it takes to survive the day.
The human brain is an incredibly expensive, demanding machine to run. It makes up only 2% of your body weight, but it burns 20% of your daily calories. When fuel runs low, the brain cannot afford to run luxury functions. And biologically speaking, politeness, patience, and empathy are luxury functions. When you get hungry, your brain flips a hard switch to conserve energy. It actively shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the part of you that cares about social rules. It reroutes all remaining power to the primal reptilian core of your nervous system. You instantly stop being a cooperative, polite member of a modern tribe. You physically and psychologically transition back into an apex predator. That sudden anger you feel isn't a mood swing. It is hunting aggression turning itself on.
We live in a bizarre era where food is guaranteed, scheduled, and delivered to our doors. But your ancient DNA does not know what a grocery store or a delivery app is. Your body was forged in an unforgiving environment of perpetual, relentless starvation. To an ancient human, a full stomach was a rare, temporary, and absolute miracle. The baseline default state of the human body for millions of years was simply hunger. You were born into a biological chassis that was explicitly built to survive famines. Every craving you have was designed to keep you alive when the earth froze over. This is why you cannot simply use willpower to ignore a craving for high-calorie food. Your primal brain views turning down calories as a literal act of suicide. It will hijack your nervous system until you put fuel back into the tank.
Look at the modern obsession with being lean, having a flat stomach, or a six-pack. We worship thinness, treating it as the ultimate symbol of health, beauty, and discipline. If you showed a modern fitness model to an ancient human, they would be absolutely horrified. To our ancestors, a visible six-pack wasn't a sign of health, it was the final stage of starvation. It meant you had zero energy reserves left, and you would be the first one to die in the winter. This is why your body actively fights against you when you try to lose weight. It slows down your metabolism, drops your body temperature, and makes you incredibly lethargic. It is not trying to make you miserable. It is desperately trying to protect its armor. Fat is not a modern disease. Fat is the biological shield that conquered the Ice Age. Without the ability to relentlessly store fat, our entire species would have gone extinct.
Imagine walking through an ancient, barren forest and stumbling upon a dripping honeycomb. It is pure sugar, pure energy, a literal biological jackpot in a world of endless scarcity. Your brain rewards you with a massive spike of dopamine, so you will never, ever forget it. It screams at you to eat every single drop because tomorrow there might be nothing left. Today, we took that ancient, life-saving survival trigger and weaponized it for profit. We condensed sugar, fat, and salt into bright, colorful, artificial packages. When you eat a modern donut, your ancient brain thinks you just found the greatest honeycomb on Earth. It doesn't know you can buy another one tomorrow for $1. It forces you to binge, stockpiling fuel for a famine that never actually arrives. We are fighting a 3-million-year-old survival instinct with a modern 30-day diet plan.
In the ancient world, hunting was a massive, dangerous gamble of your own calories. You could spend days tracking an animal, burning precious fat reserves with no guarantee of success. If you failed, you were one step closer to death. If you succeeded, it was an absolute frenzy.
You couldn't save the meat for next month. There were no refrigerators to protect it. You ate until your stomach physically could not hold another single bite. You gorged on the richest parts first, the marrow, the fat, and the dense organs. This is exactly why the modern concept of moderation is so incredibly difficult for us today. Our biological programming explicitly says, if high-calorie food is in front of you, consume it all immediately. The concept of leaving some on the plate goes against every survival rule we have. You overeat because your DNA is absolutely terrified the food will vanish by morning.
To understand why modern food is so dangerous to us, we have to look at fruit. For our ancestors, finding sweet fruit was incredibly rare and highly seasonal.
Fruit signaled the end of summer. It meant winter was coming and you needed to pack on fat immediately. Fructose, the sugar in fruit, literally turns off your brain's "I am full" signal. It is a biological hack designed to make you gorge yourself before the food rots. Today, the food industry extracts this chemical and pumps it into everything. From your morning cereal to your pasta sauce, you are eating the "winter is coming" signal every single day. Your body never registers that it is full because the signal has been chemically muted. You are trapped in an endless biological autumn, preparing for a freeze that never arrives. And the modern diseases we face are simply the result of this unbroken hoarding loop. There is another wire that modern life has completely crossed in your brain: thirst. In the wild, water was often more difficult to find than food. But fruit and meat naturally contain high amounts of hydration. Because of this, the human brain evolved to confuse mild dehydration with hunger. If you were slightly thirsty, your brain told you to go find a juicy animal or a berry. Today, we eat highly processed, completely dehydrated foods. Crackers, chips, and breads contain almost zero water. So when you sit at your desk and feel that sudden 3 p.m. craving for a snack, you are often not hungry at all. Your ancient biology is just begging you for water. But we respond by feeding it more dry dust, trapping ourselves in a cycle of false starvation. Every time you eat, your body has to make an immediate, critical decision. Does it burn this energy right now, or does it store it as fat for the dark times? Insulin is the hormone that acts as the key to your fat cells. When you eat a massive spike of modern carbohydrates, your body releases a flood of insulin. This opens the vaults, and all that energy is violently shoved into your fat stores. But here is the terrifying part. While insulin is high, the vaults lock from the inside. Our body physically cannot burn its own fat while insulin is in your bloodstream. So even though you just ate a massive meal, the energy is locked away. Your brain registers that there is no accessible fuel in your blood, and it panics. It triggers extreme hunger again, forcing you to eat more, even though you are already carrying months of stored fuel.
Have you ever wondered why you feel so incredibly lazy and tired after a large meal? We call it a food coma, as if it is a harmless side effect of digesting. But lethargy is a highly calculated, active biological protocol. When an ancient human finally secured a massive kill, they consumed thousands of calories. The absolute worst thing they could do at that moment was go for a walk or play a game. Movement burns calories. Movement wastes the jackpot. So your brain literally paralyzes you with exhaustion to force you to sit still. It wants every single drop of that energy converted safely into fat armor. Your laziness is not a moral failing. It is a primal hoarding mechanism. You are biologically tethered to the couch to ensure you survive a winter that will never come.
What happens when the food finally does run out? When the stomach has been empty for days, the body must find fuel from within. It begins the brutal process of consuming itself to keep the brain alive. First, it burns the stored fat, the armor it worked so hard to build. But if the famine continues, the body crosses a terrifying threshold. It begins to break down your own muscle tissue, converting your strength into sugar. body becomes a cannibal, eating your heart muscle and your organs just to keep your eyes open. This extreme starvation mode is a desperate, violent act of self-preservation. And the trauma of this state is etched so deeply into our DNA that we fear hunger more than we fear disease. We will destroy our long-term health with sugar today just to avoid the phantom feeling of starving tomorrow.
We are walking around in ancient, famine-resistant, highly efficient survival machines. But we have parked these ancient machines in a modern world of infinite, effortless abundance. When you open your fridge at midnight, you are not weak, and you are not just bored. You are a highly successful organism running a perfectly functional survival loop. Your body is simply preparing for the winter, wrapping you in the protective armor of your ancestors. But the tragic joke of the modern world is that the snow never falls and the food never stops. We are caught in a permanent biological paradox. So the next time you feel the panic of sudden hunger or the guilt of eating a little too much, forgive yourself. You are just a survivor, doing exactly what you were built to do. The hunger is not a flaw. It is the brutal, beautiful engine that kept humanity alive.